Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back for the OPTC video, and in today's video, we have day 4 of Grand Party PvP Pirate Rumble, and in today's video, we're pretty much showcasing Super Tandem Luffy. Now, as for Super Tandem Luffy, I do believe he probably has the second best GP burst ability, and he has a very good GP leader skill. And in today's video, I do have my 3 fights, and we are utilizing Luffy across all of them. Now, if you guys did see my shorts, there is a bit of daylight robbery going on right here, so I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. I did see Rubionic, he tagged me over on Twitter as well. I think something similar happened to him. I haven't actually watched the footage over there, but you guys will see in the second fight exactly what I'm talking about. The first fight, I did find this sort of Kaido builds, because I just really wanted to test this fighter team out and see how it went. Now, at this particular point in time, obviously this is not a live recording. I just recently got back from a family trip away, and I didn't have time to sit down and record, as I wasn't actually even in, like, I was nowhere near home, basically. I was about, like, a 10-hour drive away from my house, 2-hour plane flight sort of thing. So I had to record this, like, just like, raw footage yesterday, and then I was going to do the voiceover today, which is a bit of a shame, because, like, I do believe PvP and Pirate content is just way better when it is sort of, like, live recorded. And for Grand Party, I will make a conscious effort to actually make sure that I'm doing that moving forward. But the big thing that I don't like about Grand Voyage is... Wait, I said Grand Voyage. Grand Party. The big thing I don't like about Grand Party is the rewards are locked behind the the 15 wins. And if you guys don't get that 15 wins, you basically lose out on the rewards. Now, I do like that it isn't... Like, it is free to play, but I do think they probably should have given us an extra day. Like, just that way you can lose once. And at this particular point in time, I did believe that I still had my retry, right? You get 3 retries, and there was no information or nothing to say that I had lost that retry. And when you sort of win, normally it would sort of give you indications if things change and whatnot. And as far as I know, and from what I saw, like I said, I was recording this at like 6:30 in the morning, 6:45 in the morning. So let me know in the comment section below if I'm completely wrong on this regard. But nowhere does it state, like, when the rules actually change for you. It doesn't say when you lose retries or anything like that. It only does when, like, it actually happens, right? So, if you guys have watched some of my other videos, you would have seen that I was testing our teams and stuff. And I was versing some of these harder teams because I knew I had retries and stuff like that. And then, once I would kind of win or lose, it would tell me, okay, you have 2 retries, or the refresh button is now restricted. You'll see it in the top right-hand corner, obviously. But there was no information after winning this particular fight that I then had no more retries. So, utilizing these teams, I was still going in thinking, like, hey, like, let's sort of test some stuff out. Worst case scenario is I do lose a retry, and, like, I can still then just switch back to Roger. The OG that I did believe was going to be sort of, like, the best option for Grand Party. Nevertheless, they didn't give me that information, and I kind of didn't know. But something even stranger happened in the second fight, and you guys will see that actually once we get there. This sort of opening fight is kind of like, it's kind of a bit of a whitewash. I saw that there was a quick team, and I just kind of went, well, Dex fighters. Luffy boosts fighters, Dex, and Psy characters. And with CatDog, like, you can just destroy quick, especially with all the buffs that are going around for slashes. CatDog will burst slashes. You get, like, the double Luffy buff, and then you can just do some pretty wild things there. Obviously, Pell, Dalton, very, very strong. You also have V2, Dofi for a lot of, like, really good wave clearing shenanigans on the back end as well. So, all of these characters are just, like, absolute monsters. They're all getting pretty much buffs under the rules as well, because Luffy's a free spirit. The rest are slashes. So that works very, very nicely too. And obviously this opposition that I'm versing doesn't have a GP burst that's, like, very scary. Like, this guy actually did, like this team actually did really, really well against me, because Hina got the lock off on Luffy, Dog, and Cat. And they were the 3 units that I, like, literally had left to pop specials. So it actually worked in this team's favor to actually do that. And that actually allowed him to do a little bit more damage to my team, like, that, to get me into a bit of a scary spot. Nevertheless, like, Dex is just so powerful, and, especially in Grand Party, with these extra rule stats, all these extra buffs, like, we're sitting on, like, what, 14 crits, 6 cooldown, 6 speed, like, 7, it's some crazy stuff that's going on with these big-ass numbers. So, had no real issues with the first fight, and Luffy was feeling pretty good at this point. Obviously, Luffy's GP burst as well gives 100% cooldown to Psy and Dex characters. A random 2 units. You do have to be very careful when you use Luffy's burst, though, because it will actually just randomly pick 2 units. And that can actually include a unit that has their special fully charged. So, the best way to use Luffy is to sort of, like, pop all your specials, or to pop Luffy directly at the start of the fight. That is by far the best way to activate Luffy. And that way you can just basically start with two people's specials, and if you have stuff like Yamato, or if you have stuff like Odin, you can just do some really, really crazy damage in the early stages of the fight, especially Yamato with the halving stats, and then sort of like hitting 2 units. You can do some really, really disgusting things, and honestly, that's why I believe Roger is like the best Grand Party unit, and I did say that directly when I was rating the characters and I was rating their kits initially, because that half stat ability is just so freaking powerful. So we got the dub on the very first fight. It was all looking pretty hunky-dory at this particular point. I was thinking, awesome, I still have a retry. We have 2 more matches to do today, so let's dive into the second fight. Alright, so for the second fight, I did find this sort of K-Dad build, and once you hit 10 wins, 2 of your enemy's teams will be hidden, which is very, very challenging to obviously decide who you want to go up against and what. But obviously, with you, because you can still see their GP leader, you can still manipulate the idea of what teams that you would be coming up against. Now, for me, you could see the first team, and the first team was a strength slasher build. And for myself, I thought, hey, let's build out a side team that has Rebecca Toy Soldier, Enoru, and Kuzan, and that way we can do a lot of nerfing capabilities with the special of Kuzan, the passive of Enor, and obviously the special of Rebecca Toy Soldier. Now, I was under the impression that was going to work very, very well, and this first fight, whilst it might be tight, because obviously Odin's a thing, HP cutting with Jack can be very, very scary, Toki's great at healing, and they actually have the K-Dad burst ability. I was under the impression that this should be a fairly, cruisy win. They might do a lot of damage, and they might get me to a point where it looks very, very scary, but I thought we'd have this one in the bag, and I actually make a huge blunder looking back on these fights anyway. I actually activate the Luffy's GP burst on this particular fight, when in hindsight, I really should have saved it. Now, in my mind at this particular point too, by the way, I was under the impression that I still had a retry. So, I was going into this fight thinking that if I lost, I could still retry and everything was going to be okay. However, that is not the case. After the 10th fight, you actually lose your abilities to retry, and after your 10th win, you should probably go up against stuff like bots and whatnot. If you can find a bot fight or some sort of fight that you can almost guarantee a win on, I would highly recommend doing so, because as I mentioned at the start, they do gate lock you with rewards for this particular mode, because you only get 3 fights a day. The content only runs for 5 days, and it caps out at 15 wins. Now, right here is actually when I activated the GP burst. I got very lucky. I got Enor and Strusen's specials cooldown. Didn't affect Rebecca Toy Soldier, which was awesome, but I was really, really hoping it would just give it to Yamato and Odin. That was going to guarantee me the win if Odin or Yamato got their special ready to go. However, they didn't. Odin just missed out on using his special then as well, and that tiny little bit of RNG of Odin just going before his special was charged actually lost me this fight. Now, if you guys have any ideas to take down strength slashers with a side team, or have any ideas of what I could have used maybe in the backline, maybe replacing something like Strusen, let me know in the comment section below, because as you guys saw there, Law kind of just came in, and as everyone was running on such low health, Law just wiped out our entire team, and from here on out, we were pretty much done for. Our bench is just not strong enough to deal with what they have going, and even though they only have 5 units left, and we took out K-Dad, they still had Odin in the front, which could do a lot of damage. So at this particular point, I wasn't feeling very confident. In my mind, I was expecting a Slasher and a Psy team to pop up as the next 2 teams, as K-Dad's GP abilities boost Slasher's strength and Psy units. However, going into the second fight, something strange actually happened. We came up against a quick team, and I was using my Dex team second. Now this right here is a guaranteed win. The quick team just cannot compete with Dex, and especially because I was still using Dogstorm. I did do some changes. I did bring Lucci into the front lines instead of Dogstorm himself. I was using Cat Viper, because Lucci is a Dex fighter that gets buffed under Luffy's GP ability a little bit better, as well as getting an extra buff from Pell. Now, if you're obviously coming up against Quick though, Dogstorm is just way better, because Dogstorm directly nerfs Quick. In hindsight, probably could have used something like Kizaru as well. But this particular team has so much defensive capabilities anyway, and I thought having a little bit more offense with Lucci is very nice. And once again, in the comment section below, let me know how you guys like to run your Dex team, because Dex has so many options now. But I was pretty chuffed when I saw Quick. I was very, very happy to see Quick, but they did have Kuzan on the team. Now, again, that doesn't really affect me too much, but obviously he's getting buffed under K-Dad and whatnot as well. At this point too, I did see that K-Dad had the the GP burst ready to go, and I was sitting there praying that the AI would pop their ability, because the way K-Dad's ability works is it does like a big chunk of damage to one unit that goes through defensive effects, and then will give 50% cooldown to your crew if you have Odin on the team. This particular team does not have Odin. So I was praying that they were going to drop that, and I pretty much already guaranteed myself the win here. I just wanted to let this rock out because I really wanted to see how the AI would sort of perform in terms of like dropping the burst ability, and sort of get a feel for the game mode. Now, what I would highly recommend is in the early stages, when you have your retries, when you have your refreshes, there it is right there, they popped it. I was so chuffed at this point as well. I was like, yes, we still have one of ours, they've used theirs, their burst. We can sort of just move on now. But what I would recommend in the early stages of Grand Party is to use your retries and use your refreshes to your like ability and actually take on some harder teams. But the crux of this video, and the reason, if you guys saw my shorts, you guys will already seen this, but this particular fight was very, very interesting. Now, for myself, I had my fighter team ready to go, and this guy right here, he had a big old Dex team. Yes, a K-Dad leader just rocking a crazy Dex team build, literally just because. At this particular point too, I was kind of happy to see this. Normally I'm not happy to see a Dex fight, and this particular Dex fight itself is a bit strange. There was another fight I could have versed, which is actually the final fight of the video, that I could all like guaranteed myself the win, but like I said, I really wanted to use my retries, because I did have a feeling the retries would dissipate, but I thought they would let me know when those retries were gone. So I thought, hey, let's test out Luffy, because I really want to get a feel for these GP characters and really give you guys a better understanding of what GP characters are very, very good. For myself, I think Roger is by far the best. Luffy has come second, but I obviously haven't tested out every unit, and I am looking forward to doing so. So let me know in the comment section as well who you guys want to see for the start of the next GP, because I will definitely be taking some characters in, because I'll have infinite retries, and if I get some L's, it's not gonna matter, because I can just infinitely retry, and that way I can get a real good feel for some of these characters. But this particular fight is an absolute doozy. We pop all of our specials, and then we have our Luffy GP Burst. Now, Luffy's GP Burst is going to give us a max special charge to 2 units. One of them is going to be Dex, one of them's going to be Psy. So, Garp, what's his name? Donjin, Jiao, and Katakuri had all popped their specials. And at this point, I was feeling really good because I could activate my GP Burst. However, they have so much defense, and they were just continuously tanking every single one of my shots. We actually popped off the revive of Lucci there, and at this particular point I was like, surely we're going to have enough damage here to actually just get the dub, because we're just doing a lot of HP cuts, we have a lot of damage output, and we are basically moving at a very good pace. However, Luffy is never to be underestimated. Luffy is so freaking good in Rumble, and that special right there doing that much damage put us into a zone where Dofi becomes a lot stronger. Lucci lowered a lot of our defense, and now I'm looking at the clock thinking, holy crap, when is Dofi going to pop his special off? I really need to get Dofi out of here. Dofi is going to absolutely tear me apart. Garp is going to hit Dofi, which is awesome. However, he still has so much defense, and I just cannot crack what this man is providing. At 8 apiece, this is a drawn match, and I'm actually going to lose. Dofi comes in. I got very, very lucky. He only hit 2 of my units, which was massive for me, but we did lose Who's Who. But then my Katakuri came in and actually took out his Lucci. At this point now, it's 7-7. And as of the news, the rules state in Grand Party, if you finish with the same amount of units, you actually lose as an L. Normally a timeout is an L, but if you finish with more units, you actually get the win. We managed to take out Luffy there, which was absolutely massive. We got very unlucky with Sobama's special, and we didn't actually hit either Dofi or Moria, which pretty much would have guaranteed us the win at this particular point. Kizaru does 700 fixed damage, which kills our Jack, which is disgusting, because now it's 6 apiece, and we have 6 seconds on the clock. The time is running down, and right on the buzzer, Garp hits. He hits his special off, and he kills Doflamingo. It's 6-5. We've got the win. The greatest clutch. And at this point, I'm going ballistic in a cab just to see this result screen. What the hell? What the hell? I was robbed. We had 6. They had 5. The ultimate clutch comeback was on, and it was stripped right from my grasp. I sat there in the cab, distraught, as my chance for that title slowly faded away. For my chance at the 50 gems had been totally ripped from under the rug from an explicit bug that took my win from me. Now, like I said, if you guys have had this happen to you, please let me know in the comment section below. At the end of the day, it is what it is. I did see something in the news that was sort of saying that there was, they were aware that there has been some fights where the results didn't go the right way. So hopefully they do something about it. And I would love to get that win back because as you guys can clearly see right there, we managed to get the dub. Now, this final fight was the other fight on the list. And I was actually going to take this on thinking, hey, it's fine. But remember, I thought I had a retry, right? So I still, whilst I was static at winning that, I was like, well, it didn't really matter because I have the retry in my back pocket and it was all going to be hunky-dory. But unfortunately, like I said, after you get 10 wins, apparently you lose all of your abilities to retry. And from there, now the max amount of wins that I can get is 14. But share this video around. If you guys saw the shorts, you saw me at the airport, sort of upload that. Share it around. Let me know what you guys have thought. Let me know what you guys have seen as well. Has it happened to you? Has it not happened to you? Because it's a bit of a shame, right? Because as I was saying at the beginning of this whole video, I am now deadlocked out of getting the 15 wins. And for, like, myself, like, 20 gems, like, for most players, 20 gems is a big deal, right? For myself, it's kind of whatever. Like, I'm a whale. I make content. Like, I can buy gems, right? Like, I can just get that, right? But that title, that's something that's, like, the first thing that's coming for Grand Party. That is now completely stripped from me for something that, A, I wasn't informed about with not having a retry, and B, completely robbed because I actually won the fight. So it's a bit of a shame. Hopefully something's done about it, but if it's not, I'm not going to sit here and cry over spilt milk because I'm sure a lot of you guys have been affected by it as well. But if you guys have, like I said, please let me know in the comment section below. This next fight, as you can see here, it was just a complete easy dub. They had Straw Hat Crew. I looked at the first team and just noticed that there's no synergy whatsoever. I knew I could take it on with my fighter team, and then I could just rely on my Psy and my Dex team to take out these next fights. However, he did have a pretty good Psy team, sort of just waiting in the wings, which is a little bit weird because, like, Straw Hat Crew boosts Dex, Strength, and Quick, and then also does Free Spirit, which this team is very Free Spirit centric. But at the end of the day, I felt pretty confident that I had the win ready to go. So I thought, hey, let's pop the GP burst. And this is where Luffy is actually so good. We actually got Yamato's cooldowns at the beginning as you get 2 Psy or Dex units. And literally just took out Odin off the very first hit. First 10 seconds, them losing Odin is pretty much, besides Yamato, is like all their damage. Strusen's going to help us buff, and from this point, like, we were just hunky-dory. We also still have another GP burst in our back pocket that we could use later down the track. But as I was saying around that sort of, like, just before that second fight, what I would highly recommend everyone do, when the next GP round begins, use the first day, use the first 2 days. However, like, I think it's the first 2 days, or maybe it's just the first day, when you get 2 wins, that first sort of win to 2 wins. Really make sure that you use your retries to your advantage. And obviously, this is a game mode which we didn't know much about, so, like, there was always going to be room for error. But I do think that Bandai or the game developers or anyone like that should have had a lot more communication with how the rules change and when they do by informing their player base. Like I said, I would highly recommend everyone use those retries for the next rounds. Test out your teams, verse some hard teams, because if you lose, it doesn't matter, and that way you can get a feel for some of the best leaders and some of the best GP bursts. As for Luffy, I do think he's very, very good, but my man Roger reigns supreme, and we're going to bring it right back to the beginning for the last 3 fights. We're not taking any chances, and we're bringing the King Goldie Roger back. But hopefully you guys got your wins. Hopefully you guys have 15 wins, because this is the last day of GP. When I'm recording this, I have seen people have actually finished. So if you guys did, make sure to go down there, belt the like button for me. Let me know in the comment section below. While you're down there, don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Most importantly, though, enjoy the rest of your day. We got robbed, but it is what it is. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace. Lights!